Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just decided to go ahead and get started over here. I figure people will pile in as we go. So I shall just hang out a little bit. So as I was saying over on the Lemurian reading, this month is the sign of Fatura, or Fatura, which is the sign of the falcon. That also has the mighty wings. It has like condor wings. And the essence for this month will be purification. And so with that, you can be purifying things such as your diet may need some purification. You may need to simply step back to give yourself space and time. If you're doing some version of a detox, please be gentle with yourself while when you rush, and be sure to be flexible. For an example, I've got a diet that I usually have, which I tend to lean more into seafoods or eggs. And at the moment, I'm not able to tolerate them because I'm doing purification. And I'm actually having to go over to a rice-based food for now. So just be flexible with your diet, especially this month. And we're going to hope that the internet connection will hold. It keeps spacing in and out. And so if you're sensitive to energy as you come in, you may actually feel me. I'm already starting to work on the energy system. Um, so it'll probably this week I'll probably be focusing more on the digestive systems. But yeah, been needing way more naps than usual. It's been the same for me too, Rush. Doze as much as you can, take as many naps as you can, and of course, hello, Wawa Nui, Jane Danielson. As I said, especially with this month, you're going to be looking at not just your diet. I mean, obviously, whenever we say purification, that's the first thing that we think of. It's a little bit like the spring cleaning because, of course, as we're coming into it, we're just leaving last month of winter in the Lemurian calendar. And so it's a great time that we usually, it will be kind of a mirror to mm, say around March in the Gregorian calendar. And so that's hi Rossi. That's traditionally a time of the year, calendar month that will do literally spring cleaning. And so you could be purifying your home, you could be decluttering. A lot of the stuff that you've got going on could be purifying, maybe even your friends list. And even some of the stuff could just be a matter of putting them into a pile of, okay, these might be acquaintances, or maybe they were friends at one point, and maybe they just need to be off your contact list for a little bit because you need the space. We're at a moment whenever it is a time of um, just simply pausing to see what's working currently in your world and what isn't. And people change. People change over time and everything. You'll change. Obviously, you're not the same person you were when you were a kid. So that's what this is about. This particular month is about taking that pause, looking over our diets, looking over sleep and sleep patterns. You might be looking over how much of my screen time am I using before I go to bed, purifying different patterns. So that's what the topic is going to be for this month. And our Stargate for this month, hi Cosmic Blue Avian. Hello, Amanda Carroll. Thank you for listening at work with us. And hello, Crystal Ascension. Wawa Nui. Wawa Nui. Our Stargate this month. So, as you know, whenever it comes to Lemurian astrology, our undistorted light comes from the central sun. That's in the Alkean belt. And what will happen is that undistorted light comes through a specific stargate each month, and then that will beam the essence out onto our world. So saw the hourglass on Friday night at 12:30. Oh, well, to begin with, hello, Paul Fried. And the hourglass a lot of times can equal infinity. It can also equal 1, 2, 3. It can also equal manifestations. So that might be something that if you've been trying to manifest something, or if you're looking at some abundance coming into your world, a lot of times the hourglass, the infinity symbol, will be connected to that. And I'm also hearing the Taurus field. So it could be that your Taurus field is being reset right now. Okay, so we have quite a few people in here. You're welcome. We have quite a few people in here, and so completely forget. The Stargate this month is simply Mars in the morning, and that is called Wero. So that's what's beaming out the purification cycle for us. It's the undistorted light coming through Wero, which is Mars in the morning, and then that's creating our purification cycle. So I do want to go ahead and do the harmonization, the Lemurian harmonization, so that energetically speaking, we're all here on the same page energetically now and on the replays. Okay, so let's get started. Tihe mori ora mahakawata hi ite ingowa te ta irita otawana ayutapu ite ingowa ta fenui tarani tau wayutapu ite ingowa ta faya tamatuitatama wayutapu tihe mori ora ai te a be o be ai ma nu no to o un a te be o be un o tono nu ma ai hakta toropa potehi tuma kakima kakika na hawa tu takima takika tae tu te hu bon. I'm going to do one more technique right now that is going to be supportive for everybody's chakra system. In Lemuria, we call it the Kaha system. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine Tukuping and Maui with the Kaha system just to give us more support. Tukuping and Maui, Ma'ita. Tukuping and Maui, Wa'irua. Tukuping and Maui, Te Ariki. Tukuping and Maui, Maki. Tukuping and Maui, Tanaro. Tukuping and Maui, Tinira. Tukuping and Maui, Tiko. Tukuping and Maui, Matako. Tukuping and Maui, Hawaii. Tukuping and Maui, Toi. Tukuping and Maui, Muki Muki. Tukuping and Maui, Taro. Tukuping and Maui, Ma'ita. Ma'ita, Tukuping and Maui. Taro, Tukuping and Maui. Muki Muki, Tukuping and Maui. Toi, Tukuping and Maui. Tawahi, Tukuping and Maui. Tiko, Tukuping and Maui. Ma Tako, Tukuping and Maui. Ma Ki, Tukuping and Maui. Tinira, Tukuping and Maui. Tinaro, Tukuping and Maui. Wa'irua, Tukuping and Maui. Te Ariki, Tukuping and Maui. Ma'ita, Tukuping and Maui. Beautiful. Okie dokie. You like that, huh? Yeah, that was nice. I like that one. It helps to pull things out that don't belong, and then it also helps to bring in the good, because sometimes we're so keen on creating the space and everything. We're doing that so that we can bring in more of an alignment of our higher frequencies. So we have food, sleep, and random nerve pains. Oh yeah, I'm feeling an upgrade, and clearly it's happening. Yeah, I agree, Cosmic Blue Avian. I've had the when the pressures come from outside, it's already causing me to be a little dizzy sometimes. It can be one of those where it feels like you're on a carousel, and so the platform is doing the swirly thing. It takes a bit. In those situations, if it catches you off guard, what I've been doing is just pausing, closing my eyes a bit, and just letting it, the energy. I'm not forcing the energy, but I'm allowing the energy to integrate with my chakra system. A lot of times I will see it, and it like I said, in Lemuria, it's called a Kaha system. And so a lot of times I can feel it doing it to the front of my body. And if it doesn't integrate within, say, 30 seconds or so, I'm automatically encouraging my feet to get grounded. If it's a position where I can't take a walk, or I can't get to some water or something for my feet, I will imagine it to be happening already. Yeah, it's your birth month too. Happy birthday. I get, yeah, it's called the Kaha system. I get lightheaded too. It's been happening a lot I would say this last 10 days. So we have in Lemuria, I'm going to type this out so that you can see it. So it's called Kaha system, and that refers to our chakra system. And so whenever I was going through and combining Tukupanga Maui with our chakras just a few minutes ago, it was at the very end there. That's to help balance our Kaha system, to help get it into alignment with the undistorted light. So sometimes you can just imagine rooting your feet into Mother Earth. You are so welcome, Crystal Ascension. Hi, Lori Hunsinger. How you doing this afternoon? Wawa nui. Wawa. Trying to see if I had anything there. Oh, we're going to go ahead and bring up the slides. I forgot to put them up. This is funny. So we have this is for our month, for the Lemurian month of Fatura, which is our falcons, of course. My little guys hanging out on the beach and enjoying a pina something or other. Pineapples are really support. So let's see what's up in your world. Debbie, we are at Blairstown, New Jersey. Yeah, loving the chill. Making another film, Friday the 13th, for next year on the TV system. Trying to see. There are a lot of people. Oh, okay, sure. Good luck to you, Paul. Hopefully you'll be able to make your little cameo in that for next year. Blairstown. There's a lot of little towns over there on the East Coast. I find it humorous too, because whenever they first started off with America, you have all these little teeny tiny colonies, and it's like the further that we got, they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Just too cute. We're trying to get close. Oh, that's great. Good luck, Paul. Are you actually in a line that you're trying to get into it, or they've already? Yeah. Well, good luck to you. Put a little light around you. And yeah, so this year my August has been quite challenging as far as purification goes. This year has been a bit much. Hello. Hi, humanity. So let's see what we got. I am a Namu according to Hunatama-ake. Beautiful. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, you have a great time. Namus are September 1st through the 28th, and that is the sign of the dove. The essence of that month is peace. Mhm. So I just went to sleep earlier and I'm awake now. In the middle of the morning, it's 3:30. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Am I into Friday the 13th? I am not. Um, I will actually watch a little bit of Sam and Colby doing their sleuthing at different haunted places in the afternoons or during the daylight hours. But having lived so many times in actual haunted houses, I don't try to watch anything like that at night. And I am not one of those people that tends to like the horror stuff. I think because my imagination is a little too strong. So yeah, I tend to avoid that because too much experience. Oh, Wawa Nui. Welcome, 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 Annie Bear. That sounds fun. Pool time, playtime. Splash, splash, splash. I can hear the splashes from here. That's a great way to have fun. Yeah. So today we've got our little falcon hanging out there, rocking the waves, rocking the chill. Yeah, it's been an interesting 3 months. Hmm. Yeah, and if you're new to this stuff, you're going to find that sometimes your friend circle may shift and change as you do it too. This has been an interesting 3 months, energetically sleeping. Slow down and detach. That's wonderful. Cosmic Blue Avian, that's perfect because that absolutely helps. If you can get into a neutral space, that is really helpful. And I know a lot of times people are like, but I got to get into the joy and the bliss and the, yeah, but if you just came from the mookie, the down low and the bleh, sometimes just having that detox moment, that space to energetically allow you to have some time to get clean and cleared. You're not just dashing up and going high, high, high. It gives you the time to be able to allow. And there's a lot to be said for simply allowing things to unfold in their own time. It's lovely to see you here, Sharon Foster. Nice, warm and breezy day in Florida. Feel like this. Yeah, kick back, enjoy the little drink and soak in the sun, get the rays. I've been neutral for about a year now. Doctor for an afterlife. Actually, once we go into the afterlife, what's going to happen is you've heard it told of the Akashic records. And so what happens is when we've reached our end of our lifespan, we're going to go to the other side and we tip over absolutely everything that we have experienced over here. And then it goes into the Akashic records. It will be held in that. So you, as you, will be retained in that hall of records, and that is your life. As far as your spirit, there are times, especially with our pets, where their cup is full, they need to tip over on the other side. They will get a renewal, a cleansing of the soul, and then that will come back as a reincarnation, humans and critters. And we it's like a laundry machine. And so I wouldn't say that there's a specific doctor. I would think that the cosmic doctors or any of the support people that we have that we need will happen before you go to the tip over point. Because once you passed over, everything goes back to clean and clear. It clean slates everything. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so for those that are energetically things like impulse or you can feel energy. I've been doing a lot around the stomach area pretty much since I started, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start moving around the body a little bit more. Yeah, true. I had an NDE. Scary. But, a lot of times whenever they come back from the NDE, I've had people that have had those and they're more at peace. They'll have had experiences and had an interesting knowing on the other side that tends to color what's going on over here. Hi, ethnicity. Perfect. So what I was trying to say is while we're sitting here talking, I'm going to be doing some energy balancing. So let me scoot forward my slides. Oh, that was interesting. Last week, I think the person's name was Vivamoose. I may have it incorrect, but she didn't get the opportunity to come in for whenever I was doing my shows live, and so they had mentioned that they had had a hummingbird basically come and deliver a message to them, and within 24 hours, I had another dear friend who was all kinds of excited to let me know that she too had had a hummingbird visitor. Now, for her visitor, usually the hummingbird indicates a friend of hers who was from the hummingbird clan, one of the tribes that is on the Pacific coast. And she had had the messenger come in from the hummingbird just prior to us coming down for a visit with her. So there was a lot of hummingbird activity that week. Yeah, ethnicity is saying my own mother-in-law comes through, but I found that very interesting, very fascinating. The hummingbirds are the symbol for the birth sign of February. So if you're born February 1st to the 28th, yours is a sign of tyranny. That's what the little hummingbirds are called. And they're also called the tiny voice from heaven. So it was a great time last week mic to sit and listen to see what they were saying. So let me see. There we go. Okay, great. Knew I had some puppies in here somewhere. I think it's a miracle whenever they can do puppy lineups like this. All I could think is there must have been set like on sports or something for the timing for the for being able to get the puppies in the lineup like that. But what I'm going to be doing is, yeah, I was very blessed with a fantastic mother-in-law. You are so lucky, Hypnicity. So if you're sensitive to energy, I've already started reaching out. As I said earlier, I was working on the tummy area because my own tummy has been kind of challenged this month. But for now, I'm actually at the base of the skull. So you might actually feel me coming and going in and around the body. Hummingbirds are so interesting. And so I'll probably be calling out where I'm located. And as I'm moving the energy on the meridians, you may feel me touching like your neck or your back or your base of the head. Right now is where I'm on. If you don't feel anything at all, you cannot mess this up. Don't worry. You're not doing it wrong. Your meridians are going to be responding just as easily as those that can actually feel it. I only mention it because we tend to have a lot of empaths in here, and the empaths are those that have very heightened sensitivities to other people. You like the puppies? I just thought they were so sweet. And I gotta be honest, I couldn't pick from that pack. All I could think was, I'll take them all. Just a bit much. Seeing Alice on Saturday night in Pennsylvania should be great. I don't know that name. Co-rep, but ready. You're probably. Oh, Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper is a fascinating man. If you ever get the opportunity to listen to him in an interview, he's highly intelligent. And he puts on one heck of a show. And he scared the bejesus out of me whenever he was on the Muppets. I think I was only 6. I spent most of the time hiding. Going too fast. At the moment, I'm over on the left shoulder blade. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of fun with that. My brother used to live next door to Alice Cooper. That's so fun. Well, you know, a lot of times they have a stage persona, and that's the person that you're going to see. And yeah, he's actually beautiful without his makeup. He's a very intelligent man. Has very interesting outlooks in life. Yeah. That was my first memory of him. I think I was 6 whenever I saw that Muppets. He was very talented. Yes, he is. I'm sure he enjoyed it. It was a Halloween episode. Well, I mean, it was the Muppet Show, but I'm sure it was around Halloween time. I loved it. It made a great mix, and it was a fun show for the Muppets. I'm on the left shoulder itself, ball joints, the top of the shoulder, and the side of the neck. I know, right? The Muppet Show. They were a huge part of my childhood. And they got so many talented people to come on. Oh my golly. Roy Rogers, John Denver. Trying to remember, they were just all over. I think even Cheryl Ladd. I think I remember watching the episode with her and Miss Piggy. Such a hoot. I'm on the left elbow. And the energy balancing puppies isn't just to show the puppies, although they're wonderful. It's also to indicate that, of course, this is universal. And so this will also work for any of our puppies or kittens, birds. Any of our animal friends will also be in here. Oh, I know. Jim Henson was the hard celebrity death for me until David Crosby passed. I didn't realize David Crosby passed. I love Lost in Space as a kid. Oh my, what was the other one? It was the Land of the Lost. Land of the Lost. Oh my word, those slee stacks used to scare me silly when I was a kid. And it was crazy because they moved so slow, but that was terrifying as a child. On the left forearm and headed down towards the wrist. My son now sings the theme song. He loves the Muppets. Who doesn't love the Muppets? They compare me to the sarcastic older men, Waldorf and Statler. Oh, they're old enough to have seen everything. But you know, there were times even whenever they were in there and they would actually praise the people that were on stage or the things that they made. Yeah, the sound that they made. I know, right? The slee stacks. I forgot about that sound, Paul. Oh, that was creepy. Yeah. So I'm on the back of the left hand and the fingertips. Oh, yeah, that sound was creepy. The puppies remind me of the puppy that my nephew helped foster. Just finished basic training. The dog passed his tests and graduated. He's going to be a service dog. How wonderful. Yeah, I'll be. Land of the Lost. That was the name of the one. Yeah. So I'm on the left inner hand, the palm of the hand. Frank Zappa. Very intelligent too, and he signed Alice Cooper to his first record deal. Well, that's neat. Yeah, it's very surprising because you have an idea in your head of what these celebrities are like, and a lot of times they're doing a stage persona, and so whenever they get the opportunity to actually go into and have time to speak and to do like podcast interviews or what have you, it's fascinating too because they're older. They have been in different places around the globe, and they'll have seen different things interacting and happening. And so sometimes their perspective is quite interesting. Well, Rossi, can tell your nephew congratulations on the puppy. That's wonderful. You know how amazing is that too that they can teach dogs to be service dogs. This one could be a service dog for anything, but a lot of times they'll do that for the seeing eye dogs. And it's incredible to see that sometimes those dogs have to be willfully disobedient in order to save their owners because they're blind. They're having to compensate. And so you have a dog that has to have the intelligence to know when to ignore a command and to actively get in the way and help them. And I know, especially for the service dogs, for the seeing eye dogs, they were able to give so much independence to their owners. It's just incredible. Yeah, so many similar people. Absolutely. I'm on the left side of the rib cage right now. I've already come up the inner eye, or the inner eye, the inner arm, the inner left arm, and the rib cage. So I'm going to pause, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the right side. We're going to do the right neck again, in between the shoulder blades, and now the top of the shoulder blade and the right shoulder blade itself. I was in love with Judy Robinson from the Lost in Space. I think I saw her in an interview not too terribly long ago. She's really, um, she's doing great. She looks wonderful, and she still very much loves having been on that show. I thought that was wonderful. Very engaged with the fans. Under the shoulder blades. There's a lot of gunk underneath the right shoulder blade. And I'll say it again. A lot of times everybody hears this, but especially if you're an empathic person, you'll take on stuff that isn't yours. Sometimes the month of August is great because you can kick back a bit and breathe a little bit because it gives you the space that is just yours. But sometimes as an empath, what'll happen is you will take on other people's stuff and it's not yours to carry, but the world will shove it off onto you and it's their stuff that they should be processing, that they should be doing. And of course, if they're loved ones that we care for, we want to be able to help them out, but doing that, you're not allowing them to do their own processes and to do their own growth. I'm underneath the right shoulder blade and on the right rib cage. This may cause you to cough, and if you do, I am so sorry. But there's a lot of tenderness and a lot of stuff that is kind of stuck underneath there. Yeah, we are sponges. So we're just going to squeegee all that out and get that stagnant energy out. And the reason that I do that is because, great, there it goes, it's freaking up now, is because we need these rivers running like little rivers of energy in and around our body. That's what the meridians are. And so if they're stagnant, it's all bottled up, and that energy still tries to go somewhere and it creates stagnated, congested energy in a particular area. So by establishing the flow again, getting it to flow freely, that takes that gunk out and it begins to circulate the energy in and around your body. Oh my goodness. Rossi says school already started in Florida. Traffic this morning was so not fun. Yeah, I'll bet. Seems really early, but I remember school for us in the Midwest, we didn't start until the third week. And then out here in Oregon, we usually don't start until mid-September. Hi, Pamela Anderson. How you doing? Wawa nui. I should just simply say wawa. So I'm on the right shoulder, ball joint itself, and the upper arm. Feels like there's suction cup sticking my right shoulder to my neck. Yeah, there was some real tenderness in between the ribs underneath there. I'd say there was a long time stuffing things under there that you really just couldn't deal with in the moment. So we literally shoulder things. Yeah, in the Northeast, it's usually after Labor Day. Yeah, in the Midwest, we got started the week before Labor Day, which was a little confusing, but it worked. So now I'm on the right outer arm, headed to the right elbow. And whoever has your tennis elbow, you're back again because I can feel it. You've been abusing your elbow and your arm. I don't know who you are, but you know who you are. It doesn't feel as bad as usual, but yeah, you've definitely been doing some wear and tear on that. There it goes. You. Okay, let's go to the right forearm. Oh, there's a lot of congestion on this, and that's not surprising. There's a lot of right-handed people, and you'll be doing a lot of grip work, and sometimes that'll get stuck in the right arm. Yeah, my right arm's off for about a week. Rod Sterling's. Oh, I know. I googled the 3 intros to the Twilight Zone seasons, and Rod Sterling's writing still ring true today. I'm on the right wrist and the outer hand, fingertips, and we're going to send that energy to Mother Earth. 18 points. Now we're going to come up into the right inner fingers and the palm. Huh, I don't know the Night Gallery. Is that one of the episodes from Twilight Zone? Or was Night Gallery its own show? And the old Doctor Who's. I love the old Doctor Who's. That was a lot of fun. Ouch. Right inner wrist, which is really tender on somebody. Let's get that. And now we're going to go up the right forearm, inner forearm to the crook of the elbow. And now the right inner arm, the wrist. Yeah. Oh, my mom used to cry when Little House on the Prairie was on. I love Little House on the Prairie. Loved it too. Mrs. Olson, so on the money. That's funny. Okay, right armpit and right rib cage. I must be doing something right because I'm getting a heck of a lot of pops out of my lower back. And it is connected. The right shoulder, if you're having trouble with the arthritis and the wrist, it can be connected to the alignment of your hips. Mm. Highlights beautifully shot and preserved. Still looks good on television today. Yeah, it does actually. I actually had a kitten named Half Pint when I was little. It came from Little House on the Prairie. Pa's nickname for Laura. There it goes. Okay, great. Now we're going to go to the back, in between the shoulder blades, and we're going to go down the lumbars. I'm just going to do both sides of the back at the same time today. And the governing vessel itself goes down the spine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything is connected. The hip bone connected to the knee bone, connected to the but the fascia, which is what wraps in and around our body, a lot of times will pull. And so if we're standing out of alignment, well, to begin with, that shows different imbalances. And for me, whenever I'm looking at, I love to look at photos from the animals, and I don't want them stacked. I don't want them posed. I want them to show up whatever posture or stance that they're going to have, because then I can see what the meridian looks like and know it's out of balance. Aw, I used to tear up watching the light shine on the angels and touched by an angel. That's so sweet. Okay, now where the back joins the hip and the pelvic girdle, that's where I'm located now. Around both hip bones. And on the dogs, it's going to be called a croup. This will be the same thing for a horse or a kitty cat. For humans, it's the pelvis, where the spine comes down. Okay, I'm going to go to the interior of the left-hand side of the hip. Yeah, there's just something that needs to be freed up over here. It could be your stance. Somebody might be doing a compensation stance. So a lot of times this will happen whenever we're injured. Like, let's say you damaged a leg. You'll try to hold that leg off the ground for a little bit. And then later on, you might find that in between your ribs, hip hurt like crazy, even though you're straightening everything out and you're thinking you're standing straight. It just takes a little bit of gentle stretching in order to get that back standing correctly. And you'll be uneven. Your hips will actually be uneven until that's released, because you've trained your muscles that is its new normal. So sometimes you have to go and redo. Sometimes you'll see that as physical therapy, and they're just retraining the person to have the stance. feel it's part of the sciatica pain. It can be, because a lot of times if that's not released off, it'll begin pulling things out of alignment. So we're just going to do a bit more around the hip and the pelvic girdle, tailbone. And now we've got a lot of tails, so hang on a minute. Puppy tails, yes, but also horse tails. So let's do tails right quick. And of course, humans, we do have tails. It's just short. There we go, a little bit of space. And now we're going to go down the outer, both outer legs. So the outer thighs. Wow. To the knees. Outer calves. That was nice. It's on Arcturian blue flash there. We're going to do both ankles on the outside. And again, what this is doing is this is reestablishing our meridian flow so that the energy can flow freely in and around our body. Not all of the Little House on the Prairie came back for the last farewell. Well, it's hard to say. I mean, some of the people could have been moved on. They could have been doing different shows and things too. I'm on the left heel, and okay, now I'm matching it with the right heel as well. So outer ankle and the heel. Now we're going to go down through the arch of both feet towards the ball of the feet. And we're going to increase the energy. We're going to bathe both of the balls of the feet and the toes in kind of a buttery yellow light. A little more white to it, so maybe kind of like a pale lemon color, leaning into the white spectrum. And ease that into, out through the ting points of the toes, into Mother Earth. All the toes. There it goes. Good. Now we're going to come back up the inner toes, up the inner part of the foot, up the inner arches, up to the inner ankle. Let's get your chi flow coming back up. Thanks so much for stopping in, Paul. You have a great day. Yeah, very convenient to be lying down right now. I agree. We're coming up the inner calf. Just below the knees, on the inner knees. Behind the knees. Yeah, the knees have taken a little bit of abuse this week. And I can feel it connected to the knees all shifting into the hip. So let's go. Both spaces, places. There we go. There it goes. And now we're coming up the inner thighs and into the lap. We're going to come into the abdomen. Another place that we just love to shove our emotions. And I get it. You know, if you're busy with the world, you don't have time to cry, you're going to shove it somewhere. And usually that's where our tummies end up holding it for us. So let's just get that released. It may trigger some crying. Try to stay detached if that happens, or sneezing, coughing, yawning, burping, passing wind. Sometimes you'll get tummy rumbles. And just allow it to happen. You can get yourself a drink of water. Try to make sure it's water. It doesn't have to be much. It can be just a half a coffee cup even to help move that energy out. Better out than in. Okay, and now we're going to come up, sorry about that, up to the diaphragm and into the chest space, the lungs, up the center line of the conception vine. Now, I know that there's been some lung challenges, especially as people go back into school situations. This is not to treat, diagnose, any of that, but as people start to gather in and you get that heightened excitement, especially with the little ones as they go back to school, a lot of times they'll come down with something within about a week. You can give extra vitamin C's. You can give iodine. You can take also for yourself iodine. Zinc is another great one, especially if you're in an area where you have the sea. That is a great support to stave that off, because that is a specific mechanism. So these are things that you can do just to help boost your immune system, because everybody knows once the kids head back to school, they'll share stuff and then they bring the cooties home to you. So this helps everybody avoid that. For now, I'm doing just a little bit of extra boost around the lung space themselves. Throat. Now I'm going to go up and around the face. There are ting points up and around the head. So to start with, I'm actually at the eyes today. They're the ones that needed it the most. Yeah, they feel very dry and gritty, which is not surprising. Summertime, oh my goodness. It's hot, there's junk in the air. Bathing around the eyes, cooling that down, calming that down, going along the optic nerve to the brain itself, cheekbones, upper sinus cavities. You may sneeze. I'm going to go ahead and work also the tear ducts that are around the eyes. They go from the corner of the inner eye and they'll disappear at the nose. So you may end up with a drip as we get the tear ducts going. That'll help get some relief too from some of that gritty. Sometimes our tear ducts just get stopped up. You may sneeze or have a dry nose. Oh, that was good. Somebody did a good power yawn there. That's great. Roots of the teeth and the teeth, upper jaw, ears, eardrum, inner ear, especially on the left-hand side. Here we go. Lower jaw, roots of teeth, eustachian tube, and the throat itself. And now the top of the head, and going through the brain. Remember, our brains are 80 to 85% fat, so be sure that you take healthy fats in order to support appropriate brain growth and repair, because yes, of course, nerves in the brain can be repaired at any point, and that takes healthy fats. No seed oils. You're looking at things like, butter, lard, ghee. You can use ghee. That's a really good source. Avocado is a great source. Coconut. Obviously, this is it, as long as you're not allergic to any of it. Just woke up. And yes, one more thing that I'm going to suggest, and this is actually me sharing history more than anything, but as you go out and about and you the little ones that are coming in and staying actively healthy for these school days, what you can do is take a few drops of hydrogen peroxide and put a few drops in each ear. If it's encountered something that's like a cold, it will begin foaming. And sometimes you'll have it where it will foam in just one ear. If it's really icky kitty, you can sometimes have it foam in both ears. But if you think that you're coming down with a cold and you've done a few drops of peroxide in the ear itself and they haven't foamed, that's actually an allergy. It's an allergen of some sort. And I'm sharing this information because this is actually a historical information being shared. It was a German doctor in the 1930s who actually posited that the point of infection comes in through the eardrum itself. And so he actually used a few drops of hydrogen peroxide in each ear to stave off the entry point of a cold. Now, I will say if you've got a cold that's already started, it can help to mitigate a little bit of it, but it won't kick it entirely out. If you catch it early enough, it will go ahead and a lot of times you'll find that you won't catch that. So that was just a history lesson, not meaning to diagnose, treat, medicate, anything of that kind. Okay, and so we've pretty much finished with the energy balancing. If you'd like, go ahead and get yourself a drink of water, especially if you've done any sneezing, coughing, passing wind, burping. Those are all great signs that you've had an energy release. Hi, Liz and Awe. Awe. We've finished with the energy healing, but if you've got something in particular that you need, I can zip some extra energy through to you. You're very welcome. It doesn't take very much. Yes, hydrogen peroxide in the ears. I'm going to give you a heads up. Sometimes that can make you dizzy, so you might want to know that and just be prepared. It shouldn't, but I do know that sometimes people will get vertigo or what have you. So, wonderful. Well, you're going to have a really good sleep, Cosmic Blue Alien. And that's the other thing. If you have fallen asleep during this energy balancing, don't beat yourself up. You're so welcome, Pamela Anderson. Aw, I'm sorry, Liz. Just saying hi. I missed the notification. Double check your notifications because I did see that somebody got unsubscribed over the week. Sometimes YouTube's algorithm will do that. And I've heard tell that if you, what is it, 100? I think if you've subscribed to 100 channels, it will sometimes unsubscribe you from some of the channels. Oh, but as I was saying, if you've fallen asleep, don't get yourself up. A lot of times that helps with getting your mind, your conscious mind out of the way so that your energy body can really do a deep focus and rebalance itself. But Liz, if you have anything or if anybody has anything extra that you want to do. Oh, wow. That's nice, Sharon Foster. Just got out 2 weeks in the, oh my, Liz. Wow. Well, I sincerely hope that they've gotten you nice and balanced and calm. So glad to be here today. Thank you. Thanks, Liz or Hypnicity. I will go back and listen. Sure. I'll send just a little bit of extra energy out for the heart space. I like that your daughter actually enjoyed the hydrogen peroxide and would ask for it. That's great. Yeah, you can do that pretty much every day. And you know, the nice thing about it too is if it doesn't foam, no biggie, you just cleaned your ears. And of course, once it's foamed or whatever, then just tip your head sideways so that you can allow, you can put like a piece of toilet paper or what have you there, just to allow it to drain out afterwards. That doesn't take very much. It's just a couple drops of hydrogen peroxide. Now I know why the source made me wake up to catch this. That's great. And if you're watching on the replay, the energies that are in this are just as active as they are whenever we're here working. Beautiful. Saved my life by being assertive and guided by spirit. That's wonderful, Liz. You are your own best protector when it comes to needing guidance and help, especially with medical. Sometimes you have to be assertive and say, hey, this is going on. Because at the end of the day, they're not living in your body. You are. Okay, well, let's dial back through some of these. This one I wanted to share mostly just because it's a different beach scene. This is the one that's at Yaquina Bay, Yaquina Head in Newport, Oregon. So that's the Yaquina Lighthouse. Me too. Sometimes it can be really tricky to find out what's going on, especially with the heart space, because there's a lot of blood pressure, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, blockages, cholesterol counts, things like that. So it can be a really big balancing point to figure out what's going on and how to best support a person. But this is the view at the north end of the bay in Newport. And there's a very strong fishing fleet that comes and goes through this. So all kinds of seafood, fish. And of course, it's also the home. You can't see it in this image, but behind, towards the bay itself, is home to the Oregon Coast Aquarium, and that is where Kiko was. He got moved there for his rehab before they flew him out to Iceland. That was in the 90s. He's probably the most famous, but they've got an amazing grouping of animals there. They do some of the rehab, and they're able to get the animals right back out into the ocean. So like in the case, sometimes they'll have to rescue different seals or sea lions. And of course it's trickier, but sometimes we do have, in the wintertime, we'll have our winter storms will accidentally bring some of the sea turtles up. Unfortunately, most of those get tagged with hypothermia. We don't get the opportunity to rehab them, but the Oregon Coast Aquarium is one of those places where they can help to rehab those turtles and then get them back out into the wild. But there are all kinds of different animals that live there. They have an aviary as well. So you can see all kinds of things like the puffins, eagles, different sandpipers, curlews, different shorebirds are in there. And then there's the different tidal zones. So you can see all kinds of different tanks of, oh my goodness, they have a huge tank that has the jellyfish in it. Those are the big moon jellyfish. Those are amazing. And I love it because they've got a bench that you can just sit there and zone out with them. They have all kinds of different fish. The sea otters are probably my ultimate favorite, but they also have different animals there. Sea lions, seals. Is that a whale? It's so great that they'll help the animals. Kiko was an orca. So yeah. Yep. Kiko came from the movie Free Willy, and he had been originally from, I want to say, Mexico City. And they used him for the movie. And then shortly after that, they moved him to the aquarium in Newport, the Oregon Coast Aquarium. And he was a little over 14 feet at the time, and was quickly maturing. They were able to track down with his vocalizations. They found his original family pod off of Iceland. And so they set him up a temporary pen in Iceland and got him Back in the ocean, they were attempting to teach him to feed, but unfortunately, with Kiko, he was so humanized. Really, his own pod didn't recognize him, and so when they tried to get him to feed on his own, but unfortunately, he kept looking to humans for food. Although they had trained him how to catch his fish, he was still very humanized, and unfortunately, between the pod going, "No, we don't know who you are," um, and him being so attached to people, it was really unfortunate for him. But they did match him up with the original pod. I thought that was really cool, and it was that was kind of crazy. My husband and I were actually driving on the Oregon coast whenever they flew in the biggest airplane that they have available in order to pick him up to fly out, and they hadn't told us, they hadn't warned us as locals. Oh my word! That thing flew right over the top of us, scared the bejesus out of us. Oh, you are so welcome, Cosmic Blue Avian. You have a wonderful time. Have a great week ahead. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. I'll go back through my slides. So we had our little hummingbirds, our beautiful tiny voice from heavens. They've been very active this week. Some little messengers coming in. He did, he did. He was extremely well cared for, and that's one thing that I did love about, or do love about, the Oregon Coast Aquarium. They have an amazing food life. They're very well nutritionally supported, and they try to do the best they could. Unfortunately, like I said, I think he would have been better adapted remaining in sea life aquarium care. I mean, he had an incredibly huge tank, an aquarium that he lived at that was just massive at the Oregon Coast Aquarium. But the people that were behind the mission, of course, wanted him to be just like the movie Free Willy. They wanted to free him. And so they did the best that they could, but I think that it was not in his best interests. I think they should have aborted it and found him a different home when it was clear that his pod didn't know who he was and that he was just really not adapting. I think they should have aborted that at that point. But, you know, you do the best you can. And they tried to keep him as happy as long as they could. So at the end of the day, too, that's all any of us can do. We just try to do the best that we can with the knowledge that we have. But as far as the Oregon Coast Aquarium goes, oh golly, I think it was one of their seals. She turned 50 this year. And she looks great. I've seen her before. She's very happy. And they've got, oh my word, it's landscaped. They've got like all of these different caves and different tunneling systems, I guess you could call it, underwater, that the seals and the sea lions have to go swimming through. That is incredible. Sea otters, a lot of times they'll freeze the food for the sea otters, and unfortunately, whenever they first did that, one of the boys decided that it would be pretty awesome if he would go over and use the glass, and the glass is extremely thick. And so he took it over there to crack his frozen seafood goodies against the glass. Well, it was not the frozen cube that cracked with the food, it was the glass itself. They had to move the boys out of the way for a little bit while they repaired it. Oh, good to know. I'm sure he was embarrassed. They're incredibly strong, and my goodness, sea otters, they have huge heads. I've had them swimming alongside me before whenever they're in a tank. Their heads are bigger than mine, and they're tall. Sea otter, the one that I was staring at, he was easily 5 foot long. It's kind of crazy to stand there and go, "Whoa, I'm taller than you, but not by much." And of course, seeing Kiko in the aquarium, he was huge. I mean, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around 14 feet long, massive. Oh, thank you so much for stopping by, Crystal Ascension. It's been great to see you here. Yeah, yeah. See you out in the continuum. Wawa Nui. We do, absolutely. Yeah, if you're ever on the Oregon coast, that's located in Newport, Oregon, and they're amazing. Absolutely. Two thumbs up from me for going to the Oregon Coast Aquarium. They take such good care of their animals. And the water that comes in is Jane. Jane, I'll have to look that up because it is I think it's actually the Umakawa, which would be the medicine healer, but I'm not positive. So I would have to look that up. Yeah, it's definitely the camel, and I believe it is also the human medicine healer. So like the shaman. But no, the water, they pull the water straight from the bay to use in the Oregon Coast Aquarium, and then they'll change the temperature if they have something that's a tropical. But they go through so many filtration systems, and then before water goes back out into the bay, it goes through a lot of different filtration systems as well. Yeah. Alrighty, gang. Well, we're coming up in over an hour here. And so I'm going to say wah wah to everybody. And I hope you have a really fun week ahead. Be gentle with yourselves if you're doing purification. And if you're feeling like you're in the washing machine and you're feeling a little under the weather, you can certainly come back in here and replay the energy healing that I put into this one this week. And this is all Meridian based energy healing. It's a Shiatsu type that I've done. And so that definitely helps to balance your energy system and can help you feel much, much better. Alrighty, my lovelies. I shall see you next week. Take good care of yourselves. Wawa nui. Wawa.